Hello guys and welcome back. In this module, we'll be learning about effects in Adobe Illustrator. Okay, so there are two categories of effect in Illustrator. Just come to effect and click and then you see the effects here. Okay, so we have the Illustrator effects here and we have the Adobe Photoshop effects here. So these Illustrator effects are native to Adobe Illustrator. Okay, so these are the native effects of Adobe Illustrator, while the Photoshop effects have their origin from Photoshop. Okay, so if you are familiar with Photoshop effects, you definitely are familiar with these effects. They are under filters in Photoshop. Okay, so we are going to look at each and every one of them, or most of them, in this module. Okay, so in this video, we'll start with the one we call the distort and transform. Okay, so when you come to effects, you see that we've covered 3D and materials in the previous module. So what we'll cover in this one is the distort and transform. Okay, so just select your shape tool and create a shape and we'll look at how they work. Okay, now come to effects, distort and transform, and then free distort. Now, the way this effect works is it gives us a preview of what we currently have selected, which is a square shape in this case. Then it gives us the ability to kind of edit the anchor points, okay, to just kind of edit the anchor points like this. So you just select the anchor point and edit, and just edit it the way you want. And we still have a preview of how the original one is. Okay, so this is the original one, this one with the dashed lines, and then this is how we are editing our anchor points to be. Okay, and then when we click OK, we see that it then turns our shape to look like how we've edited it, while our original shape handles, that these ones are still intact, just like how they were when the shape was a squared shape, right? So that's just the way this effect works, and you can edit the angles like this or the edges like this, okay, and do a whole lot of things. But basically this is just a simple effect and this is how it works. Nothing special, nothing much. I rarely use this effect, okay, but this is how it works. And when you come to the appearance panel, you see that all your effects are there. Now this is the new effect which we just added. If we click this I button here, we are going to toggle the visibility. So we are going to off it, and we see that we now have our original shape, and we on it, we now have the effects applied. We can delete, we can duplicate it, and we see the effect of duplicating it here, okay? And we can just click on it, and then it gives us the ability to re-edit the effect. Maybe we want to add more adjustments, or we want to do whatever. It just gives us the ability to do whatever we want to do. Okay, so just delete and create another one, and come to effects, transform, and plucker and blot. So plucker and blot turns our shape into what looks like this, okay, depending on the shape and depending on what you want to achieve. Okay, because this is a squared shape and it has turned it to look like this star. Okay, we will have a star shape. Let's see what it does to our star shape. Effects, block and blots, and we can see what it does with our star shape. Okay, let's use an ellipse. Effects. Okay, you can create very nice shapes with this effect. Very interesting shapes. Okay, yeah. So basically, this is what the shape does for us. And of course, we can add multiple effects on a single shape. You can add multiple effects. Let's assume we want to add the free distort effect. You can see the preview here, and when we OK, you can see that we've been able to add another effect. and here are they. This is the distort, or rather the free distort tool, and this is the plucker and blot. Okay, and you can bring them above and below each other and you can see how the effect is here in the live preview. Okay. We have the roughen. Okay, so the roughen kind of just roughens our edges like this, or roughens our shape like this. We have the relative mode, we have the absolute mode. Okay. Okay, let's just maybe you want to create a cartoonish tree or something. Okay. Then okay. So we've used this to create a tree. Change the color. Maybe even bring it to the front. Maybe even duplicate, Ctrl C, Ctrl F. Okay. Come to appearance. Maybe increase the size. And then send it to the back. Arrange, send to back. And then probably do more adjustments like this. And then work more on the color, change the color to a darker one. And yeah, the sky is your limit, or your imagination is your limit. Okay. And we have the next one, which is transform effect. Now this transform effect basically is a transform effect, right? The transform effect, it does transformations to our shape, as you can see. Okay. We can move our shape vertically and horizontally. We can scale our shape. We can rotate our shape. Okay. We can rotate our shape. We can even duplicate our shape by number of copies, right? So let's just try something out here. Let me just use this. Wow. Why is not moving? Why is my shape not moving? I don't know why it's not moving. Okay, I'm just going to delete you since you don't want to move. And oh, look at the tool I've selected. I'm supposed to be on my selection tool. I guess that's why it wasn't moving. So let me just come to my select tool and grab it, and you can see that it has moved now. Okay, let's see what we can do with let's see what we can do with this tool, which is where is it? Which is which is the transform tool, right? The transform effect rather. So let's just give it rotation of, let's see, 15 degrees, and let's have 20 copies. So okay, perfect. You can see what we now have by just adding the transform tool, the transform effect. Okay, we can have stuff like this. Let's take this guy and give it a transform effect. And when you come here, you can actually apply the last effect here. Okay, so if I just hit transform, you can see that automatically it takes the last effect with the settings and just applies it to the new one. Okay, let's assume we want to add to this guy too, effects. Yeah, looks ugly. Yeah, so that's what the transform effect does. It transforms our shape. Okay, where is it? Transforms our shape and gives us the ability to add different copies. Sorry, I added an effect by mistake. We didn't look at it, but this is the crop marks effect. It just creates a crop mark on the edges of our shape. Okay, but it's not a very important effect in my own opinion. It would be good for printers, people who would like to engage in printing, so that you know the boundary of your design. Okay, so you can just add it before printing to show the boundary of your design, so that when it's being cut, the cutting machine should follow the boundaries, right? So that's just the importance of this effect and nothing more. Come to effects and transform. And okay, let's try something out. Let's try moving our shape by 1, and that's horizontal, and vertical by 1. Okay, and let's create 50 copies. So okay, with this we can see that we've now created, sorry, okay, we can actually expand our shape so as to have, okay, let's try expanding our shape. Let's try expanding. Good. So let's try undoing, or rather ungrouping. So now after expanding our shape, we can now see that we now have each of these shapes as separate shapes. Now we can select this guy and maybe change the color. Maybe change the color to black. Okay. Or maybe select all of these guys and change the colors to gray. Okay. And then change the main one to blue. And after we change it to blue, we can see that this now looks like a shadow effect, like a long shadow effect. Okay. So using the transform effect, we need to create this kind of long shadow effect. Okay. Select all and delete. Come and get another shape. Effect, distort and transform. We have this guy whose name is the tweak. It enables us tweak our shape like this. Some of these guys just do crazy stuff, right? Yeah. Yeah, you can see the options it gives us. I have never used this effect, but you might have a need for it. So, okay. And we have this other one, the twist effect. So it gives us the ability to twist our shape like this. Okay. So we can see that we've twisted our shapes by an angle of 830, through an angle of 830 degrees. And this is what we've got. Perfect. We can have a star, maybe. And then let's just delete this guy. It looks ugly. Let's have a star and come and add our twist effect. And let's see, we want this by 360. Perfect. Now we can see how these effects work. They just work by modifying or distorting our shape. Okay, so that's the distort and transform effect. Now we have the final one, which is the zigzag. And what does it do? It just gives us zigzags, okay, on our shape. It gives us zigzags, and yeah, that's basically what it does. We have the smooth shape, we have the smooth mode, okay, it makes the points smooth, and we have the corner, which makes the points sharp. And then expand object, expand appearance, expand, and yeah, maybe we would like to add another effect. Okay, perfect. And then maybe another effect. Like I said, okay, sorry, like I said, it's possible to have multiple effects. Multiple effects. We want to add the roughen. Okay. Perfect. So we can see how much crazy stuff we are creating here by just adding multiple effects. Okay. So we have the plucker and blute. We have the roughen. We have the plucker and blute and the roughen. Just 2 effects. Let's try adding another one. Let's see. I want to add the twist effect. It makes sense. Let's make this 15%. Okay. Okay, 61%. And yeah, I think this is cool. So guys, your imagination is your limit. Your imagination is your limit. There's no limit to this. You can keep creating and keep creating and keep creating and keep creating. Okay. So yeah, and I think we've come to the end of our video on the distort effect. So this might come handy in your design. It might come handy in one or two things you're doing. So feel free to explore more. And as we go on, we're going to look at even more effects. Okay, so you will get to see the stylized effects. That's these ones here. We get to see wrap effects and so on and so forth, and how we apply them to our designs. Okay, and that will be it for this lecture on the distort and transform effects. See you in the next one. Bye bye.